Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com. In today's episode of the 10-Minute Gardener, we're in my mum Betty's 10-minute greenhouse. This is an average size 6x8 greenhouse. I'm going to show you how you can increase your pepper crop, your either chilies or sweet pepper crop, just by changing the way you grow them. If you're not already subscribed to me at Learn How to Garden, there's a link just above this film. That'll take you straight over to our website, input your email address, and every time we put up a new film we can let you know, and we can also sort of give you access to our newsletter that comes out once a month. If you grow in an average size greenhouse in Northern Europe or the States, which is either a 6x8 or for some people an 8x10 if they're lucky, it's really important to maximise every square foot of that growing space. And last year we did some experiments in my mum's greenhouse. We used a quad grow and we used this, which is a chilli grow. It's sort of a smaller version because chilies don't need as much space to grow and they also don't need quite as much water. It consists of these three growing pots, a top and a water reservoir. And what I love about it is it's really compact. I did a film last year that shows how changing the actual size of container really dramatically changes your crop. And what I like about this is it means that you can make the container slightly smaller but still get the same crop as a container twice this size. So you're doubling the amount of chilies or peppers that you're going to get from the space, and in a small greenhouse space is important. And what I'm going to show you is how quickly it is to put together and why I choose certain peppers. The first thing to remember is don't put any water in the reservoir tray at the moment. When it actually arrives with enough food for the year, which I think is great, and it arrives with these wicks. And it's really important that you soak each one of these wicks. Soak them in water. Once you've soaked them, you roll them up and slide them through the bottom of the tray so that the thin pointy end comes nearly to the top level with the compost. And the reason it's pointed is that you want to keep slightly less water at the top of your compost as your chilli grows. So the first thing I'll do is actually soak these three, put one in each, put compost in a couple of them and just show you how you fill the last one. When you fill your chilli grow, fill it away from the actual reservoir. You don't want to get that reservoir full of your compost. And something I've always done is I add about 20% perlite to my composts for my chilies and also my tomatoes. And as you fill this up, keep the wick one from bending over and don't let it come right into the corner. You want your wick so it's going to be next to the plant when we put it on. So put enough in that the chilli will sit on it, and then feed the wick through, and on goes chilli grow. What's interesting is that these are 6-litre pots. This is a 15-litre. This is what I would say, if you're not growing in a chilli grow, this is the size of pot you want to end up with your chilies in. So there's a significant difference in size. And 3 of these would take up more room, and they take up about, if these are 6 and these is 15, there's a third of the compost in these 3 that there is in this one. When you pop your chilies in, you don't have to leave a big dip on the top because of course the water's going to be coming from the bottom. And I've chosen 3 varieties of chilies to show you how they grow differently. The first is Ring of Fire. This is my all-time favourite chilli. I think if you can grow only one chilli, it should be this one. And for certain reasons, you get a fantastic crop with it. That's the first thing. It's hot. For most people, it's really very hot. So it's hot enough. And I think it gives you a great return. These have been grown on really nicely. In it goes. And then you just gently fill up with your compost. you're going to firm it down, it needs to be gentle pressure. You don't want to be forcing all the air out of this compost. You need it firm enough that water can wick up it, but you certainly don't want it crushed flat. The next chilli I'm growing is really for those chilli heads. It's to prove a point. This is habanero, very fruity chilies. This is a Trinidadian 7-pot, so called because one chilli is said to heat 7 pots. It's the hottest chilli I've ever grown, and I've grown Bengal Nagas, Dorset Nagas. It's really hot, terrifyingly hot. For most people, far too hot. And we're growing it for those chilli heads just to say, if you want to grow a really hot one, this is it. This is your habanero. And last but not least, for a change, this is a sweet pepper. This is Topipo Rosso, and it's a small squat pepper with quite thick walls. It's really sweet. It's fantastic for stuffing with mozzarella or rice, or it's a wonderful all-round pepper. If I was going to grow a sweet pepper, this would be my choice. And it's to show you that they'll all grow equally well, whether they're terrifyingly hot but incredibly useful, or a sweet pepper that you could roast and you could use that, you know, wonderful sweet pepper taste. I'll just pop these two in exactly the same. Once they're all in, you water from the top, and you water from the top to get the roots going through the soil. We don't put water in the reservoir for about 2 weeks, and you won't need to feed them at all for the first 2 weeks. There'll be more than enough feed in the compost that you've used. If you're growing on a balcony, this works brilliantly. If you've got a small plastic greenhouse at the side of your house, you know, one of the zip-up ones, it's a great way to actually sort of get a really good return on your space. I think chilies are one of the things that give you, as I've said before, the best return, because especially with Ring of Fire, what I will do with Ring of Fire is I'll dry that and use it as a really hot paprika for the winter. When it comes to mixing the feed, there is a film at Learn How to Garden on mixing the feed for a quad grow, which is very similar. One thing I would say is buy yourself a cheap 10 litre watering can. Mine's 6.5 and it's a pain in the backside to work it all out. 10 litres makes it much easier for everybody concerned. And that is very quickly and very simply how you put together a chilli grow. We'll be back here in a fortnight to show you how it's growing. This is, as I say, an average sized greenhouse. We've got 8 tomatoes in here, we've got these chilies, we've got some aubergines in a hydroponic system behind me. Right at the back here we have a small cucumber, a cucamelon and a melon. So we've got 3 things growing in this pot, and obviously my mum's quite keen on basil and herbs. She's got lots of thyme, lots of basil, very keen cook. So we'll be back here in a couple of weeks to keep update on how things are growing in this little 6x8 10-minute greenhouse.